Good
Hi,
morning, Joey.
how are you?
Hi, good, good. We're going to roll straight into questions. So thank you again for joining us this morning. And we have several media who've already raised their hand. So to kick us off this morning, we will start with Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, and good morning, Joey. I was
What?
absolutely blown away by what you did at Volusia. How important was Bristol adding dirt? Was it that you went and had that experience? Is it something you would have done had you not, had that not been put on the calendar this year?
Probably not. It probably wouldn't have been something that I was going to do. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it either way. But trying to convince the boss man to go play around in something. This one helped a little bit to go play in the dirt car a little bit. So I feel like I'm a better race car driver now than I was a couple days ago before I went to Volusia. As far as being a dirt racer. It's funny, you go out there and Lee, I tell you, I was clueless. I was a dart without feathers. Um, Mainly because the rear end of those cars moves so much, and you have to, they say, keeping them up on the bars. You need to keep that left rear driven up so forward, and you do that by keeping your foot on the gas. And that's easy when you're by yourself, but then when there was 20 cars around me, I was all over the place. So just trying to figure it out. And it's cool as I was, all the drivers there were very welcoming and had plenty of advice to give me, which was great. All their advice was different though, which was very confusing because there's apparently 10 different ways you can drive a dirt car and still go fast. So it was fun listening to everybody, getting to figure it out as I went along, and I'm looking forward to doing it some more because I had a good time doing it. And it was cool. We showed up with a little trailer and rolled the car out and just kind of winged it. And apparently that's a big race for these guys, so it was a fun way to try to get out there and see where you stack up against the big dogs.
Do you have a new respect for what they do? And is it important for NASCAR drivers to go and do other things like Chase Elliott is doing to kind of, spread the gospel of NASCAR to the grassroots fans?
It, looking back at it, yes. I don't think I realized how sometimes different the fans are, dirt fans compared to a NASCAR fan. I kind of thought, hey, they're two of the same, is what I thought. But I will say it's a different demographic than what we have, and there's diehard dirt fans and they love it, and I think the more we can cross over NASCAR drivers to race on dirt or vice versa, even, I think it kind of blends those two together because they should be one, right? I mean, I feel like a motorsports fan should be a motorsports fan and love every type of it. And I kind of thought dirt racing fans were NASCAR fans, and I don't think that's quite the case in all of them, probably in half. So I thought that kind of helped along with that. I can tell by it's funny when I went out for kind of like the pre-race thing. I went out on the stage and there was zero reaction. I couldn't believe it. Zero reaction. And then after the race, we finished third and they're cheering, laughing, joking, and I'm talking, and it was like there was a reaction then. And it's like, okay, so there's definitely something that's not connecting as good as we need to. So I think, to your point, the more we race on those things and show that we're all race car drivers, we all love driving cars. It's just different types. I think will help kind of cross that bridge.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Jacob Stillman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Thanks, Amanda. Joey, thank you for your time. Building off Lee's question, your experience in the dirt modified, was it what you expected to be, or as you were learning on the fly, was it totally 180 from what you expected it to be?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Driving a dirt modified is basically take everything you've learned about driving a race car on asphalt and throw that right out the window. It doesn't mean anything. It actually hurts you. So it's just a different type of racing. The way you drive the car, everything you do is quite a bit different. So I can see how it's very hard to transfer back and forth. Whether if you grew up on dirt trying to switch over to asphalt, that's a tough change and tough thing to do. Same thing if you go the other way, right? For me as an asphalt guy going on dirt, I went out there in practice. It looked like I never drove a car before. But eventually I think talent is talent and race car drivers are race car drivers, and you figure it out, right? And, over time, I think you can transfer back and forth. I think it just takes a little bit of time to figure it out. Just like if I was to jump in an Indy car, right? It would take a while for me to figure out, but I would figure it out. Same thing for dirt racers jumping over to asphalt or vice versa. It just takes a minute. But a race car driver is a race car driver, and they'll figure it out. It's just everyone has their specialty and what they focus on, and to become really good at that.
And to flip back to the clash tonight, how do you think the dynamic is going to be different compared to what we've had in the past running this race on the super speedway? I mean, it's the kickoff, the excitement's there to get back to racing, but how's the mindset, the intensity different tonight?
Oh, well, the intensity is, just like the clash every year. Just because it's on a road course doesn't really change that. So, I think the intensity is going to be up there. It's an all-star race, right? There's nothing to lose. So everyone's going to be racing aggressively. I think when you see those braking zones, where if it's a point race, maybe they come back and try not to, have any contact and get any damage or whatever. But in the all-star type events, where there's really nothing to lose, I think you're going to see cars, sending it into those braking zones, locking tires up, maybe beating doors off each other when they get to the corner. There's plenty of opportunity for that in this racetrack, right? I mean, there's 4, maybe 5 spots you can try to outbrake somebody, and each one kind of presents its own risk that's there. And I plan on being very aggressive tonight to try to find those edges, know where those are, in an all-star race, knowing that we're going back there in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Joey. Good luck.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Mark Garrow with PRN. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Good morning, Joey. And it was a lot of fun watching you race on the dirt. And it's fun to watch guys get it, right? I mean, from where you started and where you went. So it was kind of fun to watch that progress. Last year on the Cup Series, you got off to a quick start and then kind of fell off there for a little while and then picked it back up again when it counted the most. How important is it to get off to a good start, to get an early season win and get the playoff thing settled and move on with the rest of the season?
I think at these days, you got to be good all year long. There's the opportunity that you can get through the playoffs, even if you don't have many playoff points, but you don't leave yourself any, cushion to fall back on if you don't run well. It seems like, you're right. Last year we went through, it was quite the roller coaster. It was really good, then it went really bad. And then it came back and we raced for a championship in Phoenix. So, it can go up and down. But boy, it's nice if you have a lot of points as you go through those playoffs. You sleep a lot easier and things like that. So, just like it is for football, right? You want to, try to seed yourself the best you can. Same thing for us in NASCAR. So, it's nice to get a win early. Maybe it makes you sleep a little better, but you can't just get a win and go check out for 2 or 3 months and then come back when the playoffs start. You just can't do that. It doesn't mean that you're going to have ups and downs throughout it. You probably will. But making sure you're good when it matters the most is key.
And the super speedway races, you look at Daytona the last 3 years, amount of wrecks. I mean, used to be a 50-50 proposition, right? Okay, 50-50, I make it. I don't even think it's that anymore. And when you have 30 out of the 40 cars or thereabouts involved in at least one, if not multiple wrecks during the race of one sort, just what's it like to be in a race that is such, I mean, it's not even fair to call it a wild card. I mean, it's like way more than that. It's almost like a lottery pick to win these things now and to actually finish.
Yeah, it's that part's frustrating. If I'm being 100% honest, it's frustrating. But it is what it is. These big spoilers is what's changed that. Where we used to have more of that bubble behind us, where you can block cars and actually be able to block them and keep moving forward without checking up a whole line, or getting hit from behind and getting your car out of shape. So that's what's caused more crashes. But there's still an art to it. I don't call it a lottery in my mind because I don't like thinking of things about luck. I like to think that I can control a lot of it. A lot of that by, hopefully staying in the front. I will say I've wrecked out of the lead quite a few times, or in the top 3 or 4 cars quite a few times, not just in the 500, but just in super speedway racing in general. But I'd rather be up there racing than ride around all day and then still crash. At least I can say I did something and and learned a little bit and maybe had a little fun while I was doing it. That's where my head's at with it. It being Daytona 500, you know how it's going to end. You know that, and it's happened for years now, that everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows it's the biggest race of the year. Everyone knows what comes along with winning Daytona 500 and having your name on that trophy with all the legends. Everyone knows what that's about. So because of that, everybody ends up being ultra aggressive, throwing aggressive blocks, bumping each other very hard. And next thing you know, cars are sideways going across the field. And yeah, that's going to happen again. No doubt. It will happen again.
Thank you. Have good luck. Good luck in Speed Weeks.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to take our next question for Matt Weber. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Joey. Thanks for taking time. I actually want to go back over a decade now. So the earliest part of your career, your Cup career, when you had worked with Max Papis, and he was very instrumental in shaping you a little bit as a driver. And I know you've got some good Max Papis stories because Max had some good Joey Logano stories. So can you share a good Max story, and also how valuable was he to your career?
Yeah, I mean, I love Max. Great guy, very good race car driver, good coach. You know, and you know, he's obviously done a lot with William here lately. You know, in a similar way for me. And you know, Max is an authentic person, and I think that's what I love about him the most. Is what you see is what you get, and he's going to tell you how it is, and he's not going to sugarcoat anything for you. So I appreciate that about him. He's got a great family. You know, I've learned a lot, obviously, on road courses with him, but he also worked with me a lot on ovals, more from a mental preparation side, which I thought was some interesting points of view. You know, anyone that's raced for a long time and been in a lot of different situations, you know, a lot of experience comes along with that, a lot of knowledge comes with that. So the more you can pick someone's brain like that is definitely helpful. I remember probably the thing that stands out the most to me, we had a 2-seater Cup car back when we were able to test, you know, like you said, a decade ago, and we were at Road Atlanta, and I was driving and he was riding with me, and I was braking at this one point, and then we switched seats and I rode with him, which is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. And he broke probably, I don't know, 50 yards deeper than me. And it scared, it's scary. I thought we were crashing. But it kind of opened up your eyes of where it can be, right? So that was probably what stands out the most, because I was scared of my life at that moment.
And kind of a follow-up to his work with MPI, the steering wheels he creates. A lot of drivers use it. I'm sure you've either used an MPI or you still do. Just how valuable is him as a safety asset for the sport as well?
Well, I think he's someone that sees opportunity and goes after it. And when you see, you know, where technology was in steering wheels, right? It's something that maybe we don't think about much. Hey, give me the steering wheel, let me steer the car, like whatever. But there's so much more to that. Not only from a weight perspective, but also, you know, a safety perspective, that, you know, kind of wanting that wheel to bend and get out of your way a little bit. You know, it's something that I don't think many people looked into, and he saw that as a great opportunity. And you look at the brand he's built now, right? It's not just race cars. You know, it's in hot rods, and, you know, I got a little steering wheel in my son's Power Wheels now. I put a little one in there. So he's you know, he's kind of touched on everything with that.
Thank you, Joey.
Thanks.
Okay, we will take our next question from David Smith. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Joey. Last year, TJ Majors said that before every drafting track race, you two tend to get together, whether it's for a video session or just over text message, and sort of game plan about how you're going to attack the race, approach the lead. Have you had a chance to do that with him leading up to this year's 500? And if you have, what are you looking out for going into Sunday's race?
I think every time you kind of rewatch a race, you see something, and the more eyes you have on, you know, together, and you can talk things out, you know, he may pull something out that I didn't see, or vice versa. It just helps us be on the same page. That's kind of the biggest thing there. The spotter means a lot, especially on super speedways, but really everywhere now, the spotter means a lot. And the more that he is thinking the same way I am, and vice versa, that is what kind of, you know, puts us on the same page, and I think makes us a strong pair. So, you know, the more we can, you know, be together, and obviously the more we race together is important. But this weekend, it being the first race back, right, is always, you want to get back out there and, knock the rust off a little bit and try to, see the way the draft is working, the way it's moving. And, we really won't have an idea of what that is until the duels. But, just trying to understand how that's going to be and how he communicates that, it's a constant, flow of just trying to figure out what that is. It never changes, or always changes. I'm sorry. The draft never stays the same. It evolves every time we're out there. Every driver is learning something every time they're on the racetrack. So like I said earlier, what worked last year doesn't work this year, because you have to keep moving along with it. You look at, sometimes the draft ends up single file against the wall. Sometimes a single file on the bottom. It's just how teams are working together, how alliances change, and what people see successful. So you have to constantly be studying what that is.
And on a separate but kind of related note, you spent a lot of time at the front of the field in last year's 500. If you could hang a percentage on the amount of time you were looking in your rear view mirror, what would you say it was?
If you're in the lead, it's probably 90%. If you're even, middle of the pack, you're probably at least 50-50, probably still more in the mirror than ahead. Just what goes on behind you dictates what you're going to do. So you have to be a mirror driver. That's what had me so screwed up in this dirt car this week. I'll tell you, I had no idea where anybody was. There's no mirrors in that thing. And I'm a mirror driving guy. It's what I do. So when you took that tool away from me, I didn't know what to do.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Chase Willem. Go ahead, Chase Willem. Sorry, Chase.
You're good, Amanda. Thank you. Appreciate it. Joey, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go back. I want to go back to how you said the crashes are inevitable at Daytona and Talladega, like we know. Going into the Daytona 500, obviously everybody's excited. There's jitters to start a new season, but because you know that a crash is basically inevitable, does that kind of take the pressure in a weird way off of you a little bit for the 500?
Not really. I don't look at it that way. I will say I don't typically get mad when I do crash on a super speedway, because in a way I'm asking for it at a certain extent, because I'm up there racing. There's teams and drivers that will run in the back all day long, and they might get a better finish than me. They're going to finish top 10 most likely if you ride around all day. You're probably not going to win, and I'm the guy. I just want to win, so I'm going to go out there and race. And because of that, I probably have less than a 50% chance of finishing the race. But it doesn't really take pressure off. It just, if it happens, it happens, and I move on, right? That's all we can do, right? It's like, oh, well, you got caught up in it. That's life. Move on to the next one. Take what you can from it and learn, get better for next time.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Steve with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Joey, a big picture question. I don't know if you're anticipating the best season ever this year, but how do you think the changes in NASCAR this year are going to affect the energy and excitement, both for the drivers and the fans?
There's plenty of new things. Even without the next gen car here, for this season, there's plenty of changes that should keep people plenty excited and interested in what's going to be, right? You think of all these new racetracks, the road courses, Nashville, Bristol Dirt. Boy, we've thrown a lot of different things at it this year. So I'm interested. I know that, to kind of see how things go, and and then there's still the roots of our sport that we've also kept, which is key, right? And having that blend. But I think this year more than ever, you have to be a well-rounded race car driver. You have to be able to be a great road racer. You have to be good on super speedways. There's so 4 of those, right? There's still mile and a halves and short tracks, and but even a dirt racer now. So you have to be well-rounded. And for me as a race car driver, that's a fun challenge. It's very attractive for me to want to race in NASCAR because you don't do the same thing every week. Think about it. There's not many series really at all that race that many different disciplines. And that to me is fun, because at the end of the day, I can say, maybe I can jump in anything and go fast, right? I want to be able to do that. And this kind of helps that. So as a driver, that's exciting. As a fan, thinking about all the what ifs, well, that would be exciting too.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we will take our next question from Kelvin with RSN Trackside. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Joey. So piggybacking off of that, with all those new tracks, which track do you look forward to the most? A lot of drivers are saying the Bristol Dirt Race is probably the most enticing one to go to, but I would think there's got to be at least another one or two that you might be looking forward to the most going down to.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few. You look at the Nashville market and hitting on that. I think that'll be very interesting and fun for all of us in the industry to go towards that area. You look at what the banquet was like there, and it was a lot of fun. And you look at the fans that when we did the burnout competition there down on Broadway, that was cool. So I like to think that area is gonna be really cool. Obviously, COTA, Road America all seem neat. The dirt race, I think, is the one that everyone has the biggest question mark on. And we all say, some of us are excited and others are going, why? Right. And I'm probably on both sides of the fence on that one, because personally, Bristol is my favorite racetrack. I don't think there's any reason why we have to throw dirt on it to make it better. It was perfect the way it was. But, at the same time, there's the other 50% of me that's saying, this is going to be really cool. Let's see what happens here. And we're, at the same time, there's another part of me saying, we're spending so much time on trying to figure out how to make these cars go on dirt for one race, because next year we have new cars. And so we're spending so much time and money on that. It almost doesn't make sense. So I'm really conflicted on that. I don't really know how to think on that one, but it'll probably be one of the most tuned into races all year long.
With that being said, would you rather, if it does go next year on dirt, would you rather see it at a established dirt track instead of adding a dirt onto an asphalt track?
I would say yes. I'd rather it, keep two Bristol asphalt races or concrete races and go find a dirt race, dirt track that, has the infrastructure for us that we can go out there and put on a great, race for our fans.
Thanks, Joey. Good luck tonight. Good luck this week.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Marty with RSN Trackside. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, Joey. Hope you're doing well. First off, about the UMP Modify, any consideration we could see you in a Super Dirt Car Big Block Modified in the future?
I have no clue. To be honest with you, I didn't know there's two different types of modifies before I showed up to Volusia. So that's how clueless I was. But no, my friend Ryan Flores is who built the car with my car chief, Jerry Kelly. And that's when I was like, oh, I need to go learn how to drive on dirt. Where can we go? And we went down to Volusia. So, I feel like that car is probably going to be the closest thing to driving a cup car, just from power to, the power in the car, the width of the tire is so small, just kind of the grip level. Obviously, there's a lot of differences with the car itself, it being lighter, and the movement in the rear end makes it very different. But I feel like that'll be something, at least it'll be semi close to what the cup cars will be. So that's why I chose that.
And then looking at tonight's clash, a lot of people are seeing this as a test session for about 12 days from now. What's going to be the most important data for Team Penske to get out of this race?
Oh man, there's a lot of different things. I think for one, you look at where really the 9 car is, right? Look, he's been the dominant car on the road courses. He's the one that we're all shooting to go after. So we don't have practice anymore, really, and especially at this racetrack. So if there's ever a time you're gonna go try something and risk it, and whether you're a driver and try something different, or the way you set up your car, now's the time. Now's the time to throw it all out there and see if you can make something stick, and then hopefully be better for next week.
Thanks for your time, Joey. Have a great Speed Weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jerry Jordan. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Joey, real quick. You talked about winning earlier, but can you explain how important each aspect of the race throughout the regular season is in making sure that you guys are doing well during the stages and at the end of the race?
I think, to me, the way I look at it, and this might hurt me as much as it helps me at times, is that every point could be the difference of winning the championship. And that can be in the middle of the summer, at some racetrack that someone may not think much of. But that one point, to me, could be the difference of finishing, first and second in the regular season. That could be 5 points, 5 playoff points difference. And it could be the difference between finishing third and fourth in regular season. That's 1 playoff point. Well, that 1 playoff point could be the difference of you getting to the next round or getting to the championship round. It could be the whole championship. So every point means so much. That's why you see me racing so hard, is that I feel like that can be the difference of our team getting to the championship round or not. And so for those reasons, I'm going to race hard. Now, at the same time, that might bite me in some ways, but that's the way I race. That's my mindset, and it'll continue to be that way.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we will take one question from, let's see here. Tucker, go ahead, Tucker, with your question.
All right. Joey, as we've seen over the last few seasons, especially last season, the driver who performs best over the course of the season doesn't necessarily go on to win the championship or even make the championship round of the playoffs. Given how much luck factors into making the championship round and even winning the title now, how are the playoffs a good method of deciding a champion, especially when leagues like IndyCar and Formula One decide theirs via a season-long points format?
I don't feel like it's luck. That's my opinion. You got to be good when it matters the most. There's no such thing as luck. Roger Penske says it the best. The harder I work, the luckier I get. That's just what it is. You got to be good when it matters the most. And that's what playoff sports are about. Look at what just happened in the Super Bowl, right? There's mid part of the season. You wouldn't think Tampa Bay was going to be winning the Super Bowl this year. And they were the best when it mattered the most. And they worked their way through the playoffs and won the whole thing. So it can happen here, right? Yes, does it help to have a great regular season? Yeah, it helps with your seeding. It helps with your playoff points. But at the same time, you got to be great when it matters the most. And that's during the playoffs, and each round gets harder and harder to get through. And you have to do different things to do it. So no, do I think it's luck? Absolutely not.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take one final question from Anton with ASN Media. Go ahead, Anton.
Thanks, Amanda. Good morning, Joey. There is an exclusive number of the Daytona 500 champions, but there is even more exclusive and limited number of the multiple Daytona 500 champions. So how much does that motivate you to get another Harley J. Earl trophy in your collection?
You always want as many as you can get, right? And, it's nice to say you got one. Better to say you have two. So, I'm motivated no matter what. I guess I don't need that to be motivated more. I have plenty just knowing there's a race and there's a trophy ahead of me. I honestly can't say I'm more motivated to win the Daytona 500 than I am at winning at Kansas or wherever it may be. It's pretty much the same for me every week. I keep that kind of same intensity level and the same preparation for every race, no matter what it is. So I don't really look at it as anything different than the next week.
Thanks. Wishing you all the best for this season.
Thanks, man.
All right, Joey, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. And best of luck this week at Speed Weeks and then on Sunday on the Daytona 500.
Sounds great. Appreciate you guys. See you soon. I hope to see you soon in person.
Thanks, Joey.